Broadcasting live from our MDI Road studios, this is GRTS News at 2200 hours, 22,500 hours. Our top stories this evening: President Barrow promises a brighter outlook for the energy sector. This, he said, as he lays the foundation stone for the Lamin-Koto-Diabugu electricity project. General voter registration closes across the country as thousands of new voters sign up to exercise their rights ahead of the December election cycle. GRTS examines the rise in cost for building materials amid strong construction demands. In the internationals, the United Nations urges Nigeria to end the rising incidence of kidnapping, which is negatively affecting education in the country. Uganda deploys troops to Mozambique, where growing insurgency is threatening national security. All that plus much more coming ahead in the news today. My name is Marian Ajayi, and thanks. Now we begin this news bulletin with the head of state, President Barrow, who has revealed that the Gambia is on course to meet in universal access to electricity before the year 2025. President Barrow was speaking in Sami as he laid the foundation stone for the Lamin-Koto-Diabugu 30 kV line electricity project. The $8 million project seeks to provide electricity to 46 communities in the central and upper river regions as part of government's initiative to extend power supply to rural communities. Well, Mamadou Jallo reports on this groundbreaking event.
The for rural electrification took another giant step forward Saturday with the laying of the foundation stone of the Lamin-Koto-Diabugu 30 kV line electricity project by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Barrow. Thousands of people from Nyani, Sami and Sandu converge at the Kalen Junction for the historic event, which is set to provide electricity to 46 villages in the Central River and Upper River regions. The event is seen as a milestone for the government of President Barrow, which has made nationwide electrification a major priority. Speaking at the ceremony, the Minister of Petroleum and Energy, Fafa Sanyang, said the project forms part of the ambitious Gambia Electricity Restoration and Modernization Initiative, which plans to connect 685 villages to the national electricity grid.
For over 50 years of Nabi Nation, this is the first phase and the beginning of the promise you have given the people of this country during the last Big People's Law, that you're going to electrify 685 communities, and it is starting here today in Sami. It may interest you, Excellencies and gentlemen, to know that surveys are completed for other areas in NRA, NBR and CRA, and the tender has currently been launched for the many villages under the JAM project.
The Managing Director of NAWEC, Nani Juara, reassured that the National Water and Electricity Giant is committed to its core mandate of providing reliable and affordable services to Gambians, adding that this project is just the beginning of more things to come. The President, His Excellency Barrow, revealed that his government has invested heavily in the energy sector since coming to power, as electricity remains a critical player in the national development process. The President, however, noted that long years of neglect and deprivation has left rural communities in the dark, a situation his government is determined to redress by launching such an ambitious project.
Access to energy is without doubt of a critical importance to our country. For without electricity, there can be no real development. Without energy, there can be no modern industry. And processing of agricultural and raw materials would be hampered. In short, there would be no modern economy without energy. It is sad and a great social injustice that most part of our country have been without electricity since independence.
The Lamin Koto Diabugu Batapa project comes bare a year when the president launched the Kiang project under his Operation Lampomala, which has now placed the Gambia within range of achieving universal electricity access by the year 2025. This, the Gambian leader noted, is a significant achievement, which underscores his government commitment to national development.
My government recognizes that energy is a crucial factor for sustainable development and poverty alleviation, as well as for addressing key global development challenges confronting us. I am happy to state that, therefore, that the Gambia is on course to achieving universal access to electricity by 2025. In fact, we will do so 5 years earlier than the international target. This will be a huge achievement, and it illustrates my government's performance in the energy sector.
The project has been widely acclaimed in the region, with Governor Abasanyang commending the president for the unprecedented developments in this part of the country, which had virtually been neglected by successive governments. The chief of Same, Moro Jawla, could not hide his excitement, summing up the mood of his people who now boast of a modern road and the prospects of uninterrupted power supply.
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin, Adam. Ñin xara yola ñi manke ñi ne ka mo fari kum ten den ka jele am fotati même fotani keda man kilia ñim fotale akela.
The project is funded by the European Union, the World Bank and the European Investment Bank at a cost of $8 million, with the contract awarded to an Indian company whose representative assured that they will deliver as expected. The laying of the foundation stone of this project has raised hopes in this part of the CRR, whose dreams of accessing electricity for the first time will soon become reality. As the turnout has shown, these local communities are happy that the president is indeed delivering on his promises, something that is set to make a difference in their lives and livelihoods. Mamadou Jallo, GRTS News.
Mamadou Jallo there, our Presidential Affairs correspondent. Meanwhile, residents of Sami and Nyani districts have been rejoicing over the electricity development project, saying it will be a dream come true to see their houses and streets being lit by electricity. Our Seidu camera gauged the reactions of some of the people, and this is his report.
Down the foundation stone, Lamin Koto Diabugu KV transmission line to provide access to electricity supply for 62 villages in Same and Nyani district is seen as a milestone achievement in the history of the Gambia. The realization of this project is one of the biggest achievements of the Barrow government. Opportunity for the people of Same and Nyani to have electricity supply for the first time in history. Arriving at the Kalen Jobe Johnson for the unveiling of the much anticipated electricity supply expansion for the people of Same and Nyani, His Excellency President Barrow was accorded a rousing welcome before taking his seat. Residents of the area, including the chiefs, expressed joy and appreciation to the president and his government making their dream come true, what they have been yearning for over 50 years.
Yo, Banco independent 1965.
Since the country have independence, it's over 56 years. We will never have this development. And within these 4 years, we have good roads. And for electricity supply, we have never had it. And today, President came to lay the foundation stone. Electricity supply for Sami. This is a great joy.
Today,
it is a great day and joyous moment in Sierra Leone. And we are thanking the President, and we are rallying behind him. I am advising the youth to support the President and his government, particularly his party that is aimed to develop the Gambia. Women witnessing the launching of the electricity supply expansion. It's a dream come true. And they said, with President Barrow, every good things are possible. Because since he came to power, he has brought immense development for the people of the country. This they added. It's evident that President Barrow is the solution for the Gambia.
Us, we are with President Barrow today and tomorrow because President does not disturb anyone and he has not do anything wrong and he is developing the country. So he should be given the chance to do his work because he don't harm anybody. What we never have in Same district today is that what we are having. Many presidents have come and gone, and in 4 years, President Barrow's government, we have those developments.
Nyani native Musa Jeng and others held the president and his government provided electricity supply for the people of Same and Nyani as they were left in the dark for more than 50 years. They all appeal to the youth to support the president to actualize his development agenda. This is a joyous moment in Africa, as electricity is a basic fundamental right, and that is why the president is here to bring electricity for the people of Same and Nyani. And we are praying for him to be protected from all evils. Let us open our eyes. For 52 years, we are in this country, and we know how the country was for the past 22 years. And today, there is peace in the country. Whatever you want to say, you will say it. So, we the young people should open our eyes not to be used by politicians.
President Barrow
The project is worth $8 million. That is aimed to supply electricity to over 62 communities, and it is expected to commence before the end of this year. According to officials, this project is a game changer in improving the lives and livelihoods of people in Same, Nyani, Sandu, and the country at large. Seydou Camara, reporting for GRTS News from Basse Upper River Region.
Now, after more than a month of operations, the general voter registration exercise has officially ended today, Sunday, the 11th July 2021. The exercise, which lasted for 44 days, has availed scores of would-be voters the opportunity to register and take part in the upcoming December election cycles. Well, GRTS's Saina Bujany visited the capital city, Banjul, where she monitored the turnout and rush hours ahead of the registration deadline.
The Independent Electoral Commission has estimated a registered 1 million Gambian voters ahead of December presidential polls. Today is the last day for voter registration process across the country. Various electoral supervisors in Banjul expressed their expectations and improvements for turnout, even though thorough sensitization has been done.
Definitely, we prepared for it and we are expecting a large number. Today being the last day, because these past days the number has been very low, but just yesterday we have registered almost double of what we have been registered the past 3 days. So obviously today we are also expecting more than that, and we are prepared for it. The day before yesterday it was 23, yeah, and the other day was 26. So you can see that, and for the first day we registered around 200 plus in our center here at Banjul. So the more we were going, the number was reducing. But yesterday we had a bigger number compared to the previous days. And today too, you can see the number of people have started even coming. I'm also expecting maybe, let's say, more attestations, to receive more attestations, for people to come over to ask for more attestations. Some people are not with the documents that they require that should guarantee them to register. So since today is the last day, they have no other option. We were also expecting many people to come over to ask for attestation.
Well, I don't expect a high turnout despite the sensitization, because during the first few weeks of the registration, people came out in large numbers. During our registration at the first center, the center we started. But since we came to this center, Well, the number has been coming, but it was not large. It was not much as our previous center. So we expect some people to come, but we don't expect a high turnout.
I think so far so many people have registered because from our first registration center we've registered close to 2,000 registrants. The second registration center, so far people weren't that many. So this is our third and final registration center. So far, yes, we've seen so many people coming to register. The only disappointment is the youth. They are not actually turning out so far as expected. Somehow I will say laziness, and somehow I say lack of awareness. Probably they don't know the importance of this registration and why they need to come and vote. So I think probably it's as a result of that, most people are not, civic education I think is lacking in the country. So I think we need to, beef up that, and do more of it.
A resident of Boxbar Ward, Wali Saab, spoke on voter registration turnout of youth in the city.
This time we try to recognize them and go word to word to capture them, and we make sure that we look for them. We go and look for a birth certificate for them. After that we come and register them here. You know that Banjul is too small, but me, my side, Boxbar Ward and Banjul town is make a team. So we try and capture the young ones and those who are going to turn 18 of this year. We try to capture them and bring them to register.
After close to 2 months voter registration exercise, registered Gambian voters are anticipated for peaceful, free and fair electoral cycle. Zainabu Jang for GRTS News.
The Minister of Fisheries, Water Resources and National Assembly Matters, James Furmos Gomez, has disclosed that the government of the Gambia has entered into an agreement with ECOWAS to harness the potential of the fisheries and aquaculture sector. This he said at a press briefing on Friday. Here's more by Fatou Janembai.
Industry is challenged in many fronts, including the ability to monitor its waters and the low representation of Gambians in the industry. To help reverse the situation, the government has struck a partnership with the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. James Gomez, the Fisheries Minister, disclosed the information at the press briefing on Friday.
This is God-given resources to the country. And indeed, my view and the view of the ministry that we have not been benefiting fully. And therefore, we need some assistance. And that's the reason why we invited ECOWAS. I wrote to the president of ECOWAS, can you help us bring the technicians to help us see where we want to go and how we are going to go there. I just said to Parliament the other day that we have been able to raise over 460 million from the industry. We can do 2 times, 3 times more than that if we work together. And working together means the young people of the country, the women of the country. As you could hear in the report, our industry is dominated by non-Gambians. We cannot stop that because we are an African country. But we want to get more and more people involved. So therefore, we can begin to restrict the amount of people that are coming to be in our industry.
The ECOWAS team has already completed its 1-week fact-finding mission in the country on the challenges of the fisheries industry. They have been working with the Ministry of Fisheries and Ponsafag, the umbrella body tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that the fisheries sector serves its real purpose for the best interests of Gambians. The new association is also expected to work in tandem with the officials of the Fisheries Ministry,
who know that there are a lot of potential for job creation for the youth, Gambian youth, and also mainstream the gender, entrepreneurship for them to create wealth, to find jobs. And that request was sent to the president of the commission, who talked to his commissioner and asked staff of the Commission for Agri. We were instructed to come here for a fact-finding mission and then prepare something, a project proposal for the Gambia.
The ECOWAS team is expected to leave the Gambia and will soon return to commence work with their Gambian counterparts. The information gathered on the challenges of the Gambia's fisheries industry is expected to prepare them in their future engagement in supporting the Gambia to harness its marine resources maximally. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Fatu Janembai.
Now, the past few days has seen a record surge in the cost of construction materials, especially in the wake of last Wednesday's windstorms, which left several families affected. Fatu Elikamulushi has been assessing the prices of building materials as some of the affected families set out to rebuild their shattered homes.
Wednesday's windstorm has left families devastated after some lost their households to violent winds. It was a situation that affected the entire country as the most vulnerable families reel from the effects of the devastation. Thought on how to rebuild and go back to before the rainy season gains momentum is gradually taking a toll on affected families. A visit to this compound in Fajikunda witnessed the sight of an affected family already feeling the pinch of the destructive season. A mother stretches on this couch as she watches her kids rest on the dry mat. Reason is certainly due to a lack of roof over their heads as the old man puts the pieces of papers and leftovers already looking drained from the penetration of rains.
So you don't have any place to sleep, and you didn't sleep the whole day. You are sitting all 2 days. Today is the third day, you know. You don't have a proper place to sleep, you know.
The windstorm came at a moment the family is hoping to build a stronger house with meager resources. With the existence of this current situation, the matter just got worse as they experience an increase in the cost of building materials, most especially in corrugates.
We make effort to buy some corrugates to fix the building so that we can some palm tree timbers to fix the corrugate. But it was quite expensive, you know, during our situation right now. We couldn't afford to buy enough. You don't see, just fix at the back, in the front we cannot fix it.
We visit Jimpex, a center for building materials, renowned for the availability of many building items in the Greater Banjul area. Agents here informed us of the shocking increase in the cost of building materials, especially corrugates, which they say quickly skyrocketed in the aftermath of the devastating windstorm.
Bagage yaa ngi seer soo foo gaay jënda soo gaay jëndul gaay duñ mën a am fu ñëw fanaan soo loolu mooy problème bi soo foo gaay ñëw jënda ko soo bagage yi moom dafa seer nañu gaay war a dimbali si bagage yi
so korketo mum be 1008 mbente men de ka foyle ko 2025 so you be ko cemento be damin na 280 so right now be 335 340.
This man who frequents the area and has close contacts with business owners at the same time running a taxi tells us he is suffering the consequences of Wednesday's windstorm but cannot afford a corrugate.
Right now all prices, commodities are very expensive in town. Likewise, stuff like corrugate, people are definitely in need of corrugate today. Right now, at this point of time, everybody's want to cover his roof. And you see this storm making so many disasters. Everybody need corrugate. Likewise, I do. I am an example. My roof was gone and I was crying all over the world. Nobody can assist me. No assistance. So what to do? I just have to take those rubbish things to cover up my house.
At this point, we were not surprised by the increment of cement, which skyrocketed from $280 moving towards $340, and same goes for rods.
Before you get it for 275 to something, but like now it's 350. Like it's like 100% increase in it. You'll be like, yeah, what's happening in Gambia, man?
I asked Mr. Jaju if this is ever going to be affordable for them, and this was his answer.
No, it cannot be affordable. Because right now, a packet, I don't know if they are selling 2,000 above, you know. So yeah, how can you buy? You just buy only 2 packets. That's what we can afford. you know. So we are looking for donors. One of my uncle brought us some new corrugates. That's why we are trying, but we don't have the sticks. The sticks are also expensive. We cannot have them.
Looking around the compound is a massive land and an open foundation waiting to be explored. However, Mr. Jaju is aware of climate change and the risks it may cause.
It can be. There have been scientists having problems for quite a long time. The atmosphere is going, is breaking down into pieces.
A recent NASA research outlines the domino-like connections between factors beyond the Sahara Desert's borders and the development of dust plumes. These start with temperature differences between the North and South Atlantic, which should then impact the region's consistent east-west winds, as well as a tropical band of relatively high rainfall located near the equator, as previous studies predicted based on an anticipated climate warming.
Well, the rainy season has just begun and communities are already experiencing disasters. It has been projected that this rainy season will see such reoccurrences as the world continues to battle the climate crisis amongst activities that continue to exacerbate environmental degradation. Well, the question now is how resourced is the Gambia in building more climate resilient structures, or in fact, how poised is the government to take more climate action, the failure of which will result to more or even worse disasters. For GRTS News, Fatu Elika Mulushi.
Fatu Elika Mulushi there. The Gambia joins the rest of the world to celebrate World Population Day. July 11th is set aside by the United Nations to raise awareness on global population issues. This year's commemorations, organized by the National Population Commission Secretariat in partnership with United Nations Fund for Population Affairs and Gambia Family Planning Association, were held in Jarasoma, Lower River Region over the weekend on the theme "Rights and Choices is the Answer." Whether baby boom or boost, the solution lies in prioritizing the reproductive health and rights of all people. Alajimbai picks the rest of that story.
As the COVID-19 pandemic results in serious challenges in the provision of sexual and reproductive health information and services, the pandemic also led to a sharp rise in gender-based violence with increased incidents during lockdown. Theme for this year's commemoration recognizes that rights and choices are the answer. Whether baby boom or bust, the solution to these challenges lies in prioritizing the reproductive health and rights of all people. The governor of Lower River Region, Rohijon Manjang, reiterated government's commitment to improve access to reproductive health services across the country while combating maternal mortality and gender-based violence.
As we celebrate this day, we must remember to recommit ourselves to safeguard and improve access to quality sexual and reproductive health services to all citizens of this country, especially our women group. Despite the hurdles presented by COVID-19, we must endeavor to build on the achievements made over the years to keep the Gambia on track to achieving the 3 transformative zeros, which are zero preventable maternal deaths, zero gender-based violence, and zero unmet need for family planning.
Despite the giant strides made in the provision of reproductive health services and the fight against gender-based violence, the Director of Population Affairs, Mariama Fane, said the data recorded is still an obvious concern to all stakeholders.
If you look at the data from the DHS, it shows that for the 2019-2020 DHS, even though there have been improvements when it comes to what the data was in 2013, still the results are not desirable, because it shows that when it comes to physical violence, 46% of women aged 15 to 49 have experienced physical violence, and that is very high. When it also comes to sexual violence, 9% of women have ever experienced sexual violence, and when it comes to violence against physical, sexual, and emotional violence by a current or most recent husband or partner, 39% of women have experienced it. That is very, very sad.
The UNFPA country representative, Kunle Adeniyi, assured his office's commitment to fight against maternal mortality and other sexual and reproductive health issues.
Too many women are dying while trying to bring children to this world. This is not good enough. These are the things we should try to change. And this is the centrality of World Population Day and what UNFPA and its partners stand for. I will call them the 3 zeros that are designed to make a fundamental change in the lives of our people. Women cannot continue to die. Women form half of our population. If women are not productive, the country cannot develop.
The acting executive director of the Gambia Family Planning Association, Mamadou Njai, called for improved investment and all-inclusive approach in increasing access to family planning services across the country. Alajimbai, GRTS News.
Now, July 15th, 2021 will mark the 100th anniversary of St. Joseph's Senior Secondary School. As part of the centennial anniversary celebration, the country's only girls' school is expected to launch an information technology lab as a single major step in digitizing the school, a development highly praised by the Basic and Secondary Education Minister. The project is funded by Helping Africa Foundation through Sukaisi, one of the alumni of St. Joseph's School, now based in America. Let's take a listen to this excerpt.
I have a friend who runs an organization called HAF, H-A-F, that's Helping Africa Foundation. They open ICT labs for children all over Ghana, and they donate computers. They have 3 classrooms. Every classroom has 25 computers. Two out of those classrooms have 25 each computers, and the 3rd classroom is considered a robotics center, robotic classroom, which is per se, they have robots, they have Legos, they have AR, VR, and 3D printers, so that to extend the kids' education IT horizon. So I was very excited to see that, and after the commissioning in Ghana, one of my friends, who is the executive director of HAF, offered to open one in Gambia for my benefit. So they extended an invitation to me and said that if I could identify a school, they will be able to help us with the same benefits. So obviously I chose my alma mater, St. Joseph's High School. And I immediately contacted the principal. I've been in touch with the Minister of Education, who is a senior sister of mine. So funding includes 56 laptops, solar panels, so that the laptops will be able to be serviced 24/7. They also are going to fund a 4th classroom, which is the hall, and they donated 100 chairs, conference chairs. They've donated a projector and also a separate laptop and desk for the hall, so that they want the school to use the hall as a money generating hall. What that means is HAF will sustain this project for 2 years. They'll maintenance it. Anything that needs to be done, they will take care of it. But after the 2 years, they want St. Joseph's High School to continue sustaining the project. And on top of that, they're also offering a security for the school. They were putting CCTVs on so that the school will be secured. And like I said, they've already offered solar panels, and this is what it's all about.
10 years on from when I took over as principal of St. Joseph Senior Secondary School, we are beginning to see a realization of what was my vision. It was my vision to computerize St. Joseph Senior Secondary, and it was a revolution that I took on in terms of using ICT to revamp the whole teaching and learning process and experience. Also, bringing in internet facility to help both teachers and students in research in the various subjects that they study, as well as the management of the database of the school. And today, 11 years on, we have realized most of what we had set ourselves out to do.
Well, we now go for a break and we'll be back with international. Don't go away.
The much anticipated Euro 2020 football tournament has returned. Yes, the Euro tournament right at your doorstep. 24 teams all fighting for one giant trophy. Watch all 52 games live on GRTS, brought to you by your favorite GSM operator, AfriCell. And that's not all. Call or SMS 1010 to win millions of dollars and the Scorpions national team jersey after every game. Plus, you can win an air ticket to watch the African Cup of Nations live in Cameroon. AfriCell, in support of sports. Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back. This is GRTS News. Well, here's some internationals. We begin with Nigeria, where an increase in the number of kidnapping in the north of the country is negatively affecting education. More than 1,000 students have been kidnapped since December. The United Nations has urged the Nigerian government to put an end to the insecurity that is for the students to stay away from school. We have more in the CGTN report.
Falmata Usman now lives here with her family after relocating from Borno State to Abuja last year. She says they had to escape the kidnappings and terror.
Our town was being attacked, houses burned, and we couldn't stay. So my husband and I had to take our children out of school and we ran to Abuja for safety.
Not everyone has managed to escape that wave of insecurity like Falmata. Since December, around 1,000 students in northern Nigeria have been kidnapped. The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization says kidnappings in schools have increased. UNESCO puts the number of abducted students in recent attacks at 348, after more than 100 students were kidnapped from Kaduna State earlier this month.
This is something that must be treated as a national security emergency. It has to be an all-out war. A concise surgical military operation with clinical precision to take out criminal headsmen from our communities, from our towns, from our villages, and decimate them as much as possible, secure our borders, tighten border security, and make sure we do not see influx of people across the border.
In 2014, the UN launched a Safe School initiative in Nigeria after nearly 300 schoolgirls were kidnapped in Borno State. The program was focused on promoting safe zones for education, rebuilding schools, and boosting the presence of security agencies. It involved teachers, parents, police, and leaders in the affected communities. However, the program was discontinued after a new administration assumed office in 2015.
Nigeria has been classified from the early 70s as an educationally disadvantaged region in Nigeria, so requiring certain, form of affirmative actions to prop up more access to education for children from northern Nigeria. And so, with this latest onslaught on educational facilities, of course, the north would sink deeper into educational depression, such that all gains made in the last 50 years to lift the north out of educational disadvantage would have been reversed substantially.
President Muhammadu Buhari has condemned the attacks on schools, which he warns could badly hit the country's already struggling education sector.
The Kaduna State government has also closed down 13 schools indefinitely, while security operatives intensify efforts to find and rescue the missing students. It's part of a directive from President Buhari for security agencies to act swiftly in search of the abducted victims in all the affected states.
Those efforts to restore security need to bear fruit soon if people like Falmata are to feel safer in their communities. Phil Ihaza, CGTN, Abuja.
Uganda has deployed troops to Mozambique, where growing insurgency is threatening national security. Meanwhile, the Southern Africa sub-regional bloc, SADC, is also planning to send troops to Mozambique to help deal with the insecurity in the Portuguese-speaking nation. Well, let's take a listen.
Insurgency has been part of life in Cabo Delgado for at least 3 years and has left thousands dead and hundreds of thousands of people displaced. The government paid little attention initially and then asked several groups of foreign military contractors to intervene. They failed.
There was also a sense that these were just small criminal groups that were trying to sabotage the liquid natural gas operations, that it was linked to organized crime, and that actually with some operations by private security, they could beat this almost. So on the one hand, a sense of pride, I would say, on another, perhaps genuinely misreading the threat and the various narratives that were around this.
Now that the Mozambican authorities have acknowledged that they need help and following a range of bilateral talks with European and African countries, Southern African Development Community troops are about to be deployed.
You are sitting with a third force, the official military force, that there are serious questions about their capability and their ability to gain the trust of local communities, and I cannot see that foreign forces will transcend that for as long as they've been seen to be aligned to the military of Mozambique, which will create serious problems in terms of intelligence and in terms of support vitally needed.
Then there's the question of which of the SADC countries will send in troops and how they're going to fund operations, as SADC has already indicated it has a budget of only $12 million to fund the standby force. Analysts suggest that the troop deployments may not be successful against insurgents who have used hit-and-run guerrilla tactics in the past.
I dread that the militarization and the arms race is going to accelerate the divide, is going to complicate the conflict theater, and insurgents will most definitely adjust much quicker than a traditional war capacity and soldiers trained in traditional warfare tactics.
The situation in Cabo Delgado remains volatile and it's unclear whether the two forces will actually have any impact on the security situation there or not. I'm Angelo Coppola for TGTN in Johannesburg, South Africa.
And now a quick look at our top stories before we take leave of you. President Barrow has promised a brighter outlook for the energy sector. This he said as he laid the foundation stone for the Lamin-Koto-Diabugu electricity project. General voter registration has closed across the country as thousands of new voters signed up to exercise their rights ahead of the December election cycle. GRTS has been examining the rise in costs for building materials amid strong construction demands. In the internationals, the United Nations has urged Nigeria to end the rising incidence of kidnapping, which is negatively affecting education in the country. Uganda has deployed troops to Mozambique, where growing insurgency is threatening national security. Well, that was all in this edition of GRTS News. Many thanks for your time and stay tuned to the rest of our interesting programs and have a great week ahead. Good night.
For the first time in the history of the Gambia, Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Biliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Biliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high quality and non-size restricted printing service supply across the sub-region. Rush now and partner with GPPC for all your public and private printing service needs. Print with us today and you'd be offered highly professional, reliable and efficient service delivery by our team of experts. The Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation is here to meet all demands and is reliable at all times. For more info, contact us on 437-4493 or 437-4402. GPPC is Gambian and it's yours.